just as an Army veteran, it's really all about attention to detail. So you want to have checks
Yep.
and balances at numerous points throughout the event, not just pre-planning checks and balances, but on the day of, you need to have those checks and balances in place.
So let's go back now, Joshua, and talk about what people are expecting of a DJ. I
Yeah.
heard you talk about an MC can take your event again from nice to wow if you have the right dynamic person. Did you want to chat about that for a little bit?
There's one example in our wedding planner form that a groom recently commended. He wanted a way to honor his grandparents, but he wasn't sure how to do so. So in the planner form, we ask you for your grand entrance to your reception, how would you like to be introduced? We ask, would you like to be introduced just you and your spouse? Or would you like your entire wedding party introduced? Now, if you say, I would like my entire wedding party introduced, we're going to ask, would you also like your parents or your grandparents? Now, if you say yes, there are a number of options for how we can introduce your parents and grandparents. Of course, most people assume that if they're going to introduce their parents or grandparents, that they'll probably do it walking out with the wedding party. But again, I've been doing this 11 years. There are many ways we can do this. And so the groom was really impressed with the other option, which was at their tables. So, as an example, before we introduced that wedding party, we got on the microphone and said something to the effect of, in just a moment, we are going to introduce our wedding party. But before we do, we'd like to take a moment to honor John's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, sitting at table one. Everyone claps. Then we say, we'd like to now take a moment to honor Jane's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, at table three. And so these are just all the different ways that you can, again, enhance that experience and work with your MC or your event host, if it's someone that you choose, to ensure that, number one, you are honoring any VIPs that may be attending, that you also understand thoroughly before the event how each event is going to play out. Also, another very important thing that some people don't consider, pronunciation of names. It
Mhm.
seems so straightforward, but there's a reason why there's a difference in quality of emceeing, for example. So one of the things that all of our DJs and MCs do is we will walk out, let's say it's a wedding. We're going to walk out and make sure the bridal party or wedding party, if you will, is organized in the same order that we already have listed. We're going to introduce ourselves to the wedding party who may not know us. We're also going to inform them this is our last opportunity to get your pronunciation correctly. Typically, by then, we've already gone over that with the couple, but we'll say to the wedding party, we've already gone over the pronunciation once, but this is our last opportunity to get it right. So, first in line, we need Mr. and Mrs. Doe. And if I said it incorrectly, usually they'll correct me. So, just as an Army veteran, it's really all about attention to detail. So you want to have checks
Yep.
and balances at numerous points throughout the event, not just pre-planning checks and balances, but on the day of, you need to have those checks and balances in place.